Hello, hello, hello. This is the Counting Colors and Cthulhu live session. I'm really excited to be with all of you streaming. And during this live stream, you're going to get a chance to meet the creators of the new book, Counting Colors and Cthulhu, which is on Kickstarter. The campaign is live right now. And today, like within the last couple of hours, we actually passed the $100,000 mark for the first time ever. So thank you so much to all of our amazing backers. And so we're here to celebrate that with all of you. We've been collecting for the last day and a half backer submitted questions for the team. And we're also going to be pausing throughout this live stream to give out some bonus prizes. So if you're watching live and you're able to comment, if you're watching us on Facebook or YouTube and you want to comment, just let us know. If you're a backer, let us know who you are. We'll shout you out as well. And if you have yet to check out the new book and want to know more about it or pick up a copy, you can just go to newbook.csforcthulhu.com. That'll redirect you over to Kickstarter, and you'll be able to rock and roll. So the bulk of this session is going to be backer submitted questions, but I want to kick things off with some quick introductions to who we have here. My name is Tyler James. I'm going to be the moderator tonight. I'm the publisher of Comics Tribe and the C is for Cthulhu books. And I also host a podcast called Comics Launch, which is all about using the power of crowdfunding to bring your creative projects to life. And so I'm excited to have with me tonight Uncle Jason Charamella. He is the writer of C is for Cthulhu and Sweet Dreams Cthulhu and the new book, Counting Colors and Cthulhu. He's also an author, a screenwriter, and a brand developer. He's worked on a ton of major pop culture properties that you all know. Welcome, Jason. How you doing, man? I'm doing great. And want to let everybody know ahead of time that this is the very first live stream that I've ever done in my entire career. So yeah, we were able to pull Jason out, get him out of his comfort zone a little bit, and going to be rocking and rolling with him tonight. But I'm excited to talk about this. We've got some great questions teed up by our backers. We're also joined tonight by illustrator Joshua Janes, who is new to the C is for Cthulhu team with this latest book, but he is not new to the world of children's publishing. He has over 20 years of experience working for some of the major children's and educational publishers out there. He's also a comic guy at heart, a Joe Kubert School of Cartooning and Graphic Arts graduate. And nice. I've known Josh for a long time, but this is the first project that we've worked on together, and can't be more excited to have you here with us. So welcome, Josh. Thanks for being here.
Thank you. Glad to be here. This is awesome. And much like Jason, this is the first time I've ever done a live stream, so I'm a little freaking out, but I think it's going to be cool. So,
all right. So everybody out there,
how did we manage to avoid it all this time?
I hide in my cave and just scribble and pretend like nobody can find me.
Yeah, awesome. So I'm sure everyone will be gentle with you guys. I want to shout out some of our awesome backers and watchers. Amy from Scotland is in the house. Curtis is in the house.
Amy, hey, Curtis.
Yeah, we also have some of the best names of people that back our Kickstarters, like and Tonka Troll, love it. Savannah Fisher, a backer from Indiana. Janaea, also from Indiana.
Hello.
We have Pam from Connecticut. Loves Sweet Dreams Cthulhu.
It loves you too.
Rachel from Florida.
Rachel. Darren Morano. Oh my God, from Middleborough, Massachusetts.
So yeah, you may know this one.
Alexander Charamella. I think I know that guy.
Yeah. So
he's about 20 feet above me.
So it's great. It's great. We appreciate every one of you that have supported the book or past books, present books, and we'll probably maybe even talk about some future books tonight. But where we're going to kick things off tonight with this live session is some backer submitted questions. Now, earlier in the week, I had posted letting all our backers know that this session was going down. And we've had like dozens and dozens of great questions come in from our backers. And so I've taken the liberty to sort of streamline a little bit here to sort of do a few different sections of questions. And so we're going to kick off with some questions related around the inspiration behind this book. And so this first one will probably be go to Jason, but the question is, what made you decide to start C is for Cthulhu in the beginning? Take us back to the beginning, and then why Shapes and Colors for this third book in the trilogy, and maybe some hopes for the third book. So Jason, why don't you kick us off?
Sure. The original inspiration was, just being a dad, and being a dad who loved horror and monsters as a kid. And, when my boys were young, there wasn't a whole lot of options outside of your basic, ABC 1, 2, 3 pictures of balls and cute things, and which was fine. But I thought that definitely there were a lot of other parents that were like me who, would want to see something a little bit more in their wheelhouse, something that, would spark their kids' imaginations in a different way and also keep them interested. So that was, it was basically filling a hole in something that I would have wanted when when my kids were very young.
Yeah, and just so backers and anyone watching this knows, these projects don't necessarily come out overnight. I think it was probably 2012 or something at a comic convention where you sort of told me that this was something that it was really a dream project that you'd wanted to do. And I think that was a little bit before this certain recent in the last, 5 to 8 years, this explosion of sort of cheeky children's books or children's books with, genre or, go the F to sleep or all of that, like that kind of stuff, where it turns out there's actually a big interest in this. And so, it took a while for this thing to come to, but jump ahead now, why did Shapes and Color or Counting and Colors make sense for this third book, Jay?
So when the idea for this book came around, I thought it was a good idea for a book, and again, something that I would have wanted to have for my kids. But I never really thought of it as something that would become part of, a parent and their kids' rituals, like something that they'd grow up with, from the first book and then the bedtime story book. And as that became, I became more and more aware that, this was really a part of people's families, doing something that is a little more educational and fun seemed just kind of natural. It seemed like a perfect, not an end to a trilogy, but, the next book in line.
Yeah, definitely. And, I think one of the things that stood out from that first book, just and the comments from our backers and fans was just how often, people would point to their favorites from those books. And so the chance to just do more with them and the characters that were from that first book and carry them through and put them in new situations just seemed like it lended itself really, really well to this one.
Yeah, totally.
And so thanks for that question. I want to pick up sort of like the next logical one. And I'll also sort of stick with you, Jay, on this is why Lovecraft for inspirations for children's books? Like, where did that come from?
Basically being a reader and, being a fan. So if you read Lovecraft, you'll know that there's a ton of amazing characters in the mythos that, either he created or were created by kind of his acolytes over the years. And, fantastic names and fantastic descriptions. So they were really ripe for being transformed into like a more kid-friendly character. So, that was, to me, there were other ideas that I kind of toyed with, but that seemed to make the most sense.
Yeah. And so a follow-up question from a couple of backers was why Cthulhu and not other creatures of the mythos, or why did you? And mind you, as Ashley says, Cthulhu's my favorite, or he's a favorite. But so they're not. It's not a complaint, but why did Cthulhu become the centerpiece? And I think early on, we had talked about maybe calling the book the Lovecraft ABCs as like the title. But ultimately we decided to make Cthulhu the star of this. But what's your take on that?
I think it was taking a fun name to say and a very recognizable character, definitely his most recognizable creation. So the two of those made sense to use. It could have been any number of things, any number of characters within the book. You could have done the same kind of wordplay with them for the title, but this one, I think, just made the most sense.
Question, I actually don't know the answer to this, Josh. Had you ever drawn Cthulhu prior to, like in any context, prior to us reaching out to you about working on this book?
Honestly, I hadn't drawn him specifically before. I've drawn creatures that had similarities to him.
Yeah.
Just the whole tentacle, squid face kind of thing. It's just a great design. But I had never drawn it before. And it definitely never drawn it as so cute and cuddly. So that was that was definitely kind of different. But I'll tell you what, I love it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, he's a favorite. And I'll be honest, when Jason first presented his idea for this stuff, I had not read any Lovecraft and I could not pronounce Cthulhu to save my life. But I quickly realized
spell it now.
Yeah. It's improved your spell. We're ready for that spelling bee.
Right.
But in doing the convention circuit, once that first book came out, it was really clear, like maybe 8 out of 10 people that would walk past the table would not have any recognition of the name or wouldn't know how to spell it. But everyone that did was like, oh, we have to have this book. Yeah. And so that, I think that was a testament to, we chose correctly in terms of how, the lead in this. Narissa Vasquez sort of said, what was the inspiration for Cthulhu being cute and cuddly? There's Greg's not here today, but I wanted to pull this up as this is the very first style test that was the first thing that Greg did related to this project. And Greg, just for those Greg was the artist on Seas for Cthulhu and Sweet Dreams Cthulhu. He currently has a position where he's not allowed to work on anything for anyone else, sort of an exclusive contract. So, he has sort of stepped, he's still a part of the team and everything, but he's just not taking a direct role on drawing new projects to honor his commitments. But back in the early days, this was like the first Seas for Cthulhu piece that Greg did, and these are some of the designs that he generated for our internal team to look at. And we also, if you remember, Jay, we put this to our small list at the time. Probably had 200 people that were following us through various social channels or whatever, and we said, hey, which connects with you?
This is, it's bringing back some emotions. I haven't seen this in a long time.
And so from that, I think the very next piece that we saw from Greg was this one. And a lot of people were like, "What? Why is Cthulhu red here?" And
so great.
Greg was like, "You know what? I wanted all I had saw was green Cthulhus. I liked playing with the color palette. Wanted to make something original." And so this was like the very first thing. And the fact that he did this, I think, is also the reason why there's more than one color Cthulhu plush toy, because it was like, why not? Right. So that was sort of like the first evolution to it. I think it became a little bit more rounder and cuddly, and when he drew the cover for the first book, and then he sort of took it to the next level. And added a lot of acting, I think, and just
I love that picture
and character. for the Sweet Dreams book.
Oh, it's so great.
So it has been an evolution for the character, right?
Totally.
And then so when we turned things over to Josh, we really asked him to work from our style or our style set and what had been built before. But knowing Josh in and of his own right is a super talented illustrator and has a style and an approach. We wanted him to, take it and evolve it to his own work. And I'm curious, how was that, Josh, looking at what had gone before? It's a different style, I think, than you traditionally work with. And, but how was it sort of making that adjustment?
Well, I'll have to say I was a bit nervous first coming in because Greg's stuff is just amazing. So I was a big fan of the books, and to get to ask to come in and work on them at the same time, I was like, really happy to be a part of it, and a little nervous coming in just because I wanted to keep that feel that he had, but still bring my own look to it, and not get too far away from it. So I kind of merged the two styles together, and hopefully it's, still has enough of that feel to the original, but still got to do a little bit of what makes it me when I'm working. So it took a little bit more time than I expected because trying to get that look going. But overall, I was real happy with how it came out, and it was a good time.
Love this.
Yeah.
Stuff, man.
Yeah, and this this Cthulhu picture was the very first thing that Josh had sent us over, and that was all it took for us to be like, okay, we made a great choice. Yeah. This is going to work out just fine. Awesome. So this is sort of a tough question that we'll dive into, and I know we discussed this during the Sweet Dreams launch, but it's always good to bring back, especially in the current climate. But Joseph Flood asked, as asked in Lovecraft Country, the HBO show, how do you reconcile Howard Lovecraft's views on race and politics with your love for his work? And since this is a series for children, how do we help our kids separate works from potentially problematic stuff with the real life authors? And it can really apply to any creator who publishes hateful views or has problematic stuff in the past. And I'm curious how you've wrestled with that, Jay, because I know your heart. I know the issues and the causes and the views that you have are really focused on inclusion and equality and everything. And so I'm just curious, how have you just wrestled with that and what have we chosen to do like with this brand to make the most of it?
You can't make excuses. His views on a lot of things were rotten, and there's no getting around it. People say, "Oh, it was the times." It's not. There were plenty of people during those times that didn't share his opinions on race and gender, and a lot of different things. What we have done with this is we have taken it, like a lot of people, a lot of his acolytes and a lot of modern writers, we've taken these things and we've made them our own. And we've taken the character of H.P. Lovecraft, and in our books, he's a loving, kind father figure, sort of say, for Cthulhu. So I think addressing it head on and then making it our own is, how I reconcile it, at least. There's a lot of great creation there. None of our stuff is particularly like hyper connected as far as story goes. The designs are all very unique. So it's just acknowledging, that he had a lot of terrible views and then making it our own and trying to do something better with it.
Yeah. And I think, for us, we know what we're going to create, and we know that there's not going to be anything objectionable within our own within the books or the stuff that we're going to put out, because this is stuff that, you know, like I will share with my own children, and then when they get ready to read the more stuff and want to know more about the people behind it, you know, much like we do with the documents of the founding fathers, you know, we have to recognize that there is brilliance that in the past, and there's lots of troubling stuff to reconcile with, but we always have to take what we can from the past and make the most of it for the future, and try to make it, you know, I'm not saying better, but, you know, make it positive and reinforce the, you know, the stuff that we believe in. And so that's kind of how we reconciled it. And so
totally, we've taken it, we've made it our own, and we're putting something positive out into the world, you know, that families are sharing with their children, enjoying and creating great memories. And, you know, what better? Yeah. Great. So here's one, and maybe I'll start with you, Josh, on this one.
Okay.
As a small child, did you have a favorite book or series that maybe kickstarted your creativity?
Actually, I grew up with Saturday morning cartoons, and I live in Ohio. I grew up there, and on Channel 43 there was a show called Superhost that was on every Saturday morning around 11 o'clock, and they showed like Godzilla, Gamera, the Stooges, and I pretty much lived that growing up as a little kid. I was hooked on all the kaiju stuff and just loved Godzilla growing up. And actually it was my plan that was what I was going to be when I grew up, but it didn't really come to fruition. So I just decided to draw them instead. But that was my main spot. That, and, you know, all the Saturday morning cartoons that were on and stuff back then. And it just branched out from there.
What about you, Jay? What was your favorite book or series from early on that got you?
I grew up reading, you know, pretty tame stuff. I you know, Beverly Cleary and, you know, young adult authors like that. And I read a lot of history books. So I spent a lot of time in the library when I was a kid, but no series that come to mind. I mean, I read a ton of comics once I hit 8 o'clock. I started reading, not 8 o'clock, 8 years old. I started reading a lot of comics. But still, you know, a lot of the stuff that was average for, you know, boys in the mid 80s to be reading at the time, I read.
Nice.
I wish there was a cooler answer there. There's
yeah. Well, we have some people watching in the chat, so feel free to let us know in the comments, you know, what was your favorite series as a kid? If you're watching us on YouTube or on Facebook, you can feel free to share some of your favorites or most inspirational series that you're watching. It's fun for me because, you know, I have a boy who's 3 right now, and he's just at that age where he is vociferously going through and immediately watching something, and then later that afternoon, all right, I'm going to be this character. Dad, you're going to be the bad guy because Dad's always got to be the bad guy. Let's go. and so yeah, awesome. we're seeing some great ones. Christina says Astro Boy, Rachel Scooby Doo, classic. Tonka Troll, the Gargoyles, very cool. All right, we're going to take a quick break here to do a bonus giveaway. Now, what I did. This one is we're going to give away a bonus copy of Seas for Cthulhu coloring book,
which comes with great stickers, by the way.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, full color sheet of stickers in the back, and a digital download so that you can download extra pages, which is a nice little extra there. So what we told our backers is that everyone that asked the question would be entered into our wheel of names here, and so we're just gonna spin the wheel here, and we'll see who comes up.
That's fantastic.
Where did you find this?
It looks great. Like it's
Kevin Johnson, former Celtics star.
Let me make sure I make a note of that. Yeah, we it's a cool little app, man. Wheelofnames.com. Anytime you gotta pick something. So Kevin Johnson wins number one. Just making a little note on that. All right. Appreciate you. We've got 34 people watching live on the Facebook and YouTube channels. Perhaps more watching on our Facebook page. We do want to remind you all that you can grab Counting Colors and Cthulhu on Kickstarter between now and May 1st. And we would love to have your support there. We've maxed out all of our stretch goals right now, but I will have a new batch of really cool stretch goals for the above $100,000 mark, which is crazy that we're even saying that. But we will be rolling some of those out soon as well.
Can I share something fun? Some fun news?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. So I'm getting married on May 1st. So the Kickstarter has been like a daily countdown to my wedding. It's fantastic.
Wow.
Has
that helped, or has that made it more?
No, it's been great. No, it's not totally no stress at all. It's been great. Yeah.
All right.
Well, it's just fantastic. Every day I can check Kickstarter, and I'm like, 10 more days, I get married.
Well, you definitely doubled down. I did a Kickstarter on my own, and found it, pretty tough to get through and everything, and turned out good. But to add a wedding on top of it you are the man. That's amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah, a lot of congrats from everyone. Yeah, we'll have to have a special blowout on May 1st.
Big celebration.
Yeah.
So fair warning, I will not be available on May 1st for any kind of post Kickstarter stream or anything.
Okay, so I guess backers, that's a fair excuse for Uncle Jay.
Yeah.
Thanks, and congrats again, Jay. All right, this next batch is some questions on the creative process. So let's dive into some of these. Kelly asks, do you listen to any music or podcasts while you work? Josh, what about you? What do you listen to while you're working?
Honestly, I'm a huge Tom Petty fan, so pretty much put on anything of his, and I can just let the album play the whole way through. I love his stuff. Also, I'm an Audible junkie, so I got like 1,500 books in my library, and I just listen to story after story. Actually, probably my first a Cthulhu type story would have been like Peter Klein, his books that he does. He has a lot of Cthulhu stories tied into it. He's pulling a lot from Lovecraft's storylines and stuff for his books, and they're amazing.
Yeah.
So that was probably my first run in with his stuff until I listened to Mountains of Madness. And but yeah, I love audiobooks when I'm working.
What about you, Jay?
It's tough. I can't listen to anything with words while I'm working. And my brain just shuts down, and all I can focus on are the lyrics, and I can't think straight. I listen to the Tron Legacy soundtrack a lot. And similar, when I'm working, similar, retro wave, shitty synth music that's supposed to be from the 80s, but it's not. Stuff like that. I listen to a lot of that stuff when I'm writing.
Yeah. I listen to a ton of podcasts and books on tape. I like to say, I read 10 books a year, but it's really just listening, man. to the at least
still counts.
Still counts. Yeah, gotta count it. Yeah. But usually that's not when I'm working. Usually that's around everything else that I'm doing, doing dishes and whatnot. But yeah, thanks for that question, Kelly.
Good question. Good question.
Yeah. So, from the books, I'll start with Josh on this one. From the book that you just did, what page did you like the best? What page did you find most satisfying to make?
I'd say my favorite is the Shuggoths. The one with them eating the cheese 3. That one was my favorite. I just love drawing those guys, and just one of my favorite monsters in Lovecraft stuff is just the idea of that blob with the eyeballs everywhere and stuff.
It's super fun.
Just really like that.
Yeah,
that was probably my favorite in this book. If I was going to pick out of any of the books, I'd say it's Sweet Dreams Cthulhu. The shot of Lovecraft hugging Cthulhu as he leans out the window. I love that
so good.
image. It's a great image. Lighting's perfect. It's just nice.
So good. 'Cause I'm glad you said that, because I pretty much wrote that same scene into the upcoming book.
Oh, so, yeah? Oh, sweet.
You get to do a version of it. Yeah.
Good deal.
Yeah. What about you, Jay?
Mackenzie, I can't answer that question. It's like asking me to pick which one of my kids I like better. No can do.
Well, now I feel bad.
Nice. All right. So this is an interesting one. What's your favorite part of the product creation process? So that's kind of a big question, but Jay, like of this whole process, what's your favorite part?
So in everything that I do, it's always a team effort. All the writing that I do is part of a team, whether it's comics and working with artists and editors and letterers, these books working with you and artists, or, you know, work that I do for Hasbro and working with marketing and, you know, designers. I love the collaboration, because I always feel like my best work comes out when it is part of a team and everybody, you know, kind of pitches in and you're bouncing ideas. And I just really love that. And I love, you know, being the person who sparks an idea and then watching it grow and then seeing a team put it all together and then the final product. It's really satisfying.
Yeah. How about you, Josh?
I'm gonna have to say from the illustration side of it, my favorite part is just laying out the images, like actually coming up with the camera angles and how I'm gonna shoot the scene and everything. I really enjoy that part of it, seeing how I can set it up to get the best, you know, tell the story the best and get that nice shot that just pays everything off really well. So I'd put that as my favorite part.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you know, all of those pieces of it are great, but I think the one thing that surprised us, especially with this brand, is, and it is a part of the product creation process, is actually seeing it. And one of the things, you know, there's a question later on about why Kickstarter, but being able to actually, you know, like you're there at the inception moment of the idea, and then you put the team together and you see the product come together, even you do this big launch, but at some point in the next several months, there's going to start to be pictures that pop up online of parents reading this book with their kids, or holding the plushies, and just having it be a part of their childhood experience. And that was something that, like, you know, like in comics, you don't see as much of that. Like, right. and Jay and I were both big comic guys, and I don't know that we had ever, you know, you rewind 15 years ago, are we going to do a children's book? You know, never really thought about that. Right. But it's it's like addicting to see how many, see those pictures come through and how great they are, you know? And so that is a big one of my favorite parts of the whole process.
Yeah.
And we thank all of you backers for sharing them.
Definitely.
Yes.
So this is another one that you know, Jay will probably pass on. But of all these books, which does you find most enjoyable to work on?
I mean, honestly, the experience has been the same. The excitement level from the very first book through all the plushies and everything that we've done to this latest book. You know, it's just always fun. It's always a good time. And yeah, so I don't think any one has been better than the other. They've all been really great. Yeah,
I would agree. And like, you know, it took a while between each book. So, but every time we launch a new one, I'm like, why do we take so long? why do we wait so long to make a new one? This is so much fun. I know. But you know, like
that's probably my fault, but I'm getting better. I'm getting better.
So this is a question, and I'll tackle this one. Savannah asked, how did you obtain the rights to H.P. Lovecraft's Cthulhu? And the reality is, H.P. Lovecraft's most of H.P. Lovecraft's work is already in the public domain based on when it was published. Cthulhu is a character that is in the public domain. Now, there are trademarks associated with Cthulhu. So I think like the Call of Cthulhu game series, like that is a trademarked brand. And C is for Cthulhu is a registered trademarked brand that we own. And so while but you see a ton of adaptations of actual Lovecraft stories that are brought to life in new form, whether it's comics or film or other things like that, because it's public domain. And then we also see plenty of people taking liberties with and doing their own thing with those creations because they're public domain. So we didn't have to get the rights, and neither do you, actually. So that's that one. And then, what's the creative motivation that keeps you creating these wonderful books, Jay?
I mean, this is very similar to the answer to the other one. It just, I get a lot of joy out of working on these projects and then seeing the final product and then seeing it out in the world and seeing families, share this experience that we've created. To me, there's nothing better.
Yeah. And Josh, as a veteran in the children's book space, do you ever get tired of doing such cutesy stuff?
Oh, well, I've done darker stuff every so often just to kind of take a breath for a little bit. But honestly, like you said, I went to school at Joe Kubert. I graduated just as the comic boom crashed and everything went to pieces in '96. So I couldn't find work doing it anywhere. They had guys working for years, couldn't get work. And that kind of directed me into doing children's books. And it turns out I really love doing children's books. So I think the world just kind of sent me where I was supposed to go. And here I am. And honestly, most of the time, I love it. Cool. I have my bad days where I'm just like, I just want to sleep and play video games all day. But for the most part, I'm happy to be at my desk, just sitting here drawing. So, yeah.
And on those bad days, the creative motivation is, keep the lights on and
yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Awesome. So, hey, we're going to do another giveaway here. This one is going to be, we're going to hook you up with some Seas for Cthulhu wrapping paper, a book of 4 different designs. And so let's shuffle these up.
Oh, there you go.
And here we go again. All right. Looks like Paul Saunders is our winner for that one. Congrats, Paul. Awesome.
Good job, Paul.
Appreciate the questions. And again, if you're watching live, we appreciate you as well. All right, this is kind of a fun one. The category of questions that came in, we had a lot of other product questions of things that people were interested in. So Dennis Teed asked this. He said, "I just added the collector's box, or the collector's case, to my prior selection, so I can get the metallic print when the pledges reach 100,000." So yes, we reached 100,000, and so we're adding this cool metallic print. A metallic version of the original Seas for Cthulhu image is going to be inserted in everyone's collector's box. So if you're getting a collector's box, you just got it upgraded at 100K. He said the system didn't allow him to choose the choice of 12-inch plush when he did that. So I just wanted to clarify this. There are some of our pledge levels where there's a product listed, your choice of, and then like your choice of 12-inch plush color. And so for those, you will be able to, when we send you your shipping survey, that's where you'll be able to choose from all of the selections that are available. And so what's nice about that is, right now, there may be more plush colors coming that might be available. And so, but once your Kickstarter pledge is set up, you can't change it. So rather than, so we left it open knowing that you would be able to choose after the campaign is over when we send you the shipping survey. So just want to let anyone that's concerned about how we'll know exactly which plush you want or whatever, don't worry, you'll be able to figure that out. Or you'll be able to choose that and see it exactly as it's supposed to be when when you fill out the shipping survey after the campaign is over. So no worries on that. Next one was, can baby blue and pink be made in the 12-inch size plush for this campaign? And so the short answer is anything is possible, but not everything is possible like during this launch. And one of the things that just to be perfectly transparent with you all is we can't just when we add a new plush and a new a new plush, like it's more than just, being able to put out a couple so that anyone that so that 5 people or 10 people that want one can get it. There's minimum production numbers anytime we add a new color. We have to do product safety testing anytime there's a new color, which is a whole thing. And so it's adding a new plush is actually a big investment. And so even though the campaign is doing awesome, the bigger the campaign, the more the stuff there is to ship, there's more stuff there is to organize, and the more complicated fulfillment is. And so we're trying to get that balance right. And so I think for right now, we're going to keep some of those special colors like the baby blue, like the pink, as baby only. But that's not to say that it could never happen in the future. And so that's sort of where we're standing on that. And there's other questions about other plush colors. Josh did that page at the end for 10 Cthulhus all sleeping, and so there are 10 different colored Cthulhus in there. And
you guys
we
were
have a bunch of
testing me
them.
with that rainbow one. Was that was that was something to do that one.
Yeah, you had to figure
That's
out some effects. Yeah, you knocked it out of the park. And there was also a question from a little cultist who said, do you have color changing Cthulhus? A Cthulhu that goes from red to pink to blue to green. That's a cool idea.
Heat sensitive.
Yeah, now we're going to have to go to our manufacturers and see what kind of what kind of specialty fabrics they do. And so the short answer is maybe we will have some additional plush toys depending upon how high this goes. But I'd love to just open it up to those of you that are watching live. What color Cthulhu plush would you most likely to see us make that we're not already offering? Feel free to share in the chat if you have a suggestion. Stephanie says sequins, a sequin plush. All right.
Yes.
All right.
Yes. Stephanie, I like it.
Yeah. Stephanie, you may be into the gold fabric plush.
Once I saw the gold, I started thinking we could do sequins. We could do all kinds of disco-y, blingy Cthulhus. It'd be great.
Yeah. So we're seeing royal blue and orange. Yeah, orange is one of those ones that I was thinking. I was wondering, would there be a demand for an orange Seeds for Cthulhu plush? I don't know, but then you see it in the book, and it's like that's really cool.
Yeah.
So getting some good suggestions in the chat, which is very cool. But here's one. Do you think you'll ever expand to lift the flap books or pop-up books? Josh, have you ever done a pop-up book or worked on?
I have done lift the flap. We've done minimal pop-up books. I've worked on over the years, but not a lot. And most of that was years ago. Lately, I'd say mainly lift the flap or some of these ones that aren't really pop-up, but they're just like moving objects and stuff. Like you slide stuff and characters move and things like that. But no, not a full-out pop-up book.
Yeah. Yeah, Jay, what are your thoughts on those?
I mean, I'd love to do a pop-up book or, a moving objects book, something like that. I'd love to. I know that they're, technically they're a ton of work for the artist and, engineering the book so that it works and that it's durable.
Yeah, they get torn pretty easy, as
Yeah.
Tom Control mentions.
Right.
And I have a boy who likes to flex his super gecko muscles, and rips them left and right. The other book, the other kind of book that my little boy loves that we've been getting into are those sort of I Spy type books, like the Where's Waldo, or we've got a giant Santa, like Find Santa book, that are like super just crazy images going on in there. And
so also the texture books where, like it's like the different skin textures and furs and things like that. I thought about that too. That'd be fun.
Yeah. Especially for me, like half the time I'm hanging out with my boy, like reading new books from the library or everything. Like there's always a part of me that is going on being like, all right, how do we adapt something like this for the Series for Cthulhu brand? And then what would be really cool for our backers and fans. Likewise, this was a question from Tara Mae Jackson. She said, would you consider expanding your merchandise such as t-shirts or baby onesies to different color Cthulhus to go with your books? So we have in the past offered t-shirts and baby onesies. And who knows, we may even have those available at some point as add-ons during this launch or after the launch is over. The thing about t-shirts is they do add, like, you ship them differently than most of the other stuff, and it just adds a little bit more complication. But we do sell them on our online site from time to time, and also baby onesies. So occasionally, but I think the toys and the books are really our bread and butter.
So I think what she is asking here is if we will use the alternate color Cthulhus on the products, on t-shirts and things like that. Yeah, maybe. I mean, the Rainbow Cthulhu is so much fun, and we had initially did that for an LGBT charity, correct?
That's right.
Yeah. So I'd love to see that. I'd love to see that come back on t-shirts or something at some point, even if it's maybe just even if it's our logo, in the rainbow or something like that. That'd be great.
Yeah. So TBD. Like this is already like the launch with the most products that we have. So, as the person that needs to make sure that every single one of these things gets to every one of our, 1,150 backers in a safe time, like there is always let's say yes to everybody with let's not overextend ourselves and make sure that we can deliver an awesome experience so that we can keep doing this. And so, I've learned that you don't need to do everything in every launch. But because down the line there will be another one, hopefully. So this one is from Naomi. And this was a question Dennis asked. I think I saw a few more examples of this, but is plushies for other creatures from the book. She said her son really wants a deep one. Her daughter loves the unnameable from the first book. Thinks Shoggoth is cute too. And Dennis wants to know, all right, which one is more likely than others. What are your thoughts, Jason? Like which one would you like to see most?
I think the Shoggoth would be high on the list. I think Hashter would be high on the list. The deep ones, make a lot of sense. Those would be the top three that I think. The unnameable is a great choice, though. That's a great choice. It's be a real fun, weird looking plushie.
Now, Josh, having spent a lot of time drawing these characters and getting to put them in your own style, like which of them, any of them jump out to you? Just feel like, oh man, I love that toy.
I'd be pulling for the Shoggoth for sure. Yeah. That's definitely the one I would love to see. Just the idea of all those tentacles sticking out and the eyes everywhere, it'd be great. Plus, make an awesome pillow.
Yeah, definitely. So you guys out there that are watching this, what other character would you most like to see in plush form? Tonka's has supported Mummy's Always Right. A mummy doll for Mummy's Always Right. Yeah, I know Joe Mummy would love to see that as well. And David says we're crushing it on Kickstarter. Very inspirational. Yeah, thanks, David. Yeah, thanks, David. And you know, it's important for those of you that are creators yourself to recognize that, you know, these big launches, like this is not an overnight thing. You know, this is an idea that Jason has been having for, you know, about a decade. And, you know, this is the 9th launch that we've done, you know,
9 Kickstarters.
Wow.
Yeah. 3 books and a whole bunch of plushies and other things, but 9 Kickstarters.
Yeah. So picking something that you love, that other people love, and then sticking with it. That's kind of a proven recipe for success. So I encourage you guys and all the creators watching this to do just that. So this one, Christine asked one. I never thought of this one. Have you ever considered a Cthulhu puppet? I would love for my kids to feel like he's reading to them. And then also any plans to do more advanced books, opposites, manners for kids who are slightly older. And she doesn't want her kids to grow out of Cthulhu.
Okay. Yeah, it's a big thing. It's something that I'm painfully aware of because I think about how long ago the first book was, and I'm like, oh my God, those kids are, you know, they're not kids anymore. Well, they're kids, but not little kids anymore.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, definitely want to work on some early reader stuff. You know, simple sentences, but fun, same theme, same characters. So it's been on the radar for a while.
Yeah.
And a Cthulhu puppet's a great idea. It's fantastic. A sock puppet, oh my God, you could tease the hell out of your kids with it. It'd be so much fun.
Yeah. The other one that
would be cool.
Yeah. The one that I've really wanted to do is Cthulhu socks, but with the for your individual toes for
that would be awesome. That would be great.
Really
like that.
Unbelievable that we haven't done that yet.
Yeah. It's literally I just need to put our people on that stat. Let's see what else we have here. All right, Tad says you've got plushies and pins. Have you thought of doing patches? Josh, you did patches for Lost Dogs MC, right?
Yeah, I did. I did patches for that, and they're reasonable, so they're definitely a good add-on because they're not too expensive to make, and they can cut them to shape, so you could have it basically his head on there as a patch. That would be awesome. That's a good idea.
Yeah. All right,
patches would be great.
We're gonna have to follow with Josh's patch guy. That sounds like a good stretch goal to add to something or other. And Thad also said the Season of Cthulhu book is usually read to my kids at least once a week for bedtime, and a gift from their godfather. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. That makes me really happy.
All right, this one from Elizabeth. It had some endorsements. She said, "Have you thought of doing a board game? My 4-year-old has decided she loves board games, and as will there ever be original artworks that would become available?" So on the original art thing, both Josh and Greg are primarily digital artists, which is why we really haven't made original art a thing as a part of our launches. But that is not to say that would never happen. But board game, Jay, what do you want to say about that?
Funny that you should mention that, Elizabeth, because 2 feet from me right now is a prototyping kit and about 6 pages of notes for a game that we're developing. So stay tuned.
Yeah. And, I, in my own personal capacity, I've worked as a game designer for several years. And I'm now, playing games every day with my little one, who has beaten me 9 consecutive times in Candyland without cheating somehow. And so I need to build a work. We need to work on a game and building a cheat code so Dad can win for once.
Yeah, you need to start cheating at Candyland. You can't let that happen.
I know. I got to start pocketing some double squares.
He's going to get a huge ego.
Awesome. So great questions about extra products, and we'll try to depending upon where this launch ends up, we'll try to add a few more awesome things before the campaign is over. But time to spin that wheel of names again. All right, I'm gonna remove Paul here so he doesn't double up. But sorry, Paul, but you won the last time, and let's spin this sucker. So this one's going to be for a 6-inch baby glow-in-the-dark plush. All right, Aaron Richards.
Congratulations, Aaron.
Congrats.
Thank you for being a backer, being a part of this launch. Write your name down there and make sure this gets added to your pledge. That is my little boy now. He's not quite that little anymore, but he's a lot of the models. We've been using him for the past couple of years, and I can measure his growth by our Kickstarter campaigns in a lot of ways.
It's fantastic.
All right, so this is the last section. So these guys, we'll probably go for a little bit longer. Thanks, guys, for your time. I hope you're enjoying this conversation.
Yeah,
but,
totally.
Yeah, definitely.
This is sort of like a grab bag of questions here. And we'll leave this just general. Who is your favorite monster and why? So I think we'll extend this beyond just the Lovecraft stuff, but favorite monster all time. Josh, what do you say?
I'm still going to have to go with Godzilla from my childhood. I love that character growing up. And honestly, Kong versus Godzilla, I know it was just two monsters beating the snot out of each other, but I love that movie, and the trailer was perfect.
So good.
I'm going to have to go with Godzilla.
Yeah. Jay?
I will probably say Frankenstein, but that might not be my answer every time this question's asked, but it's the first thing that comes to mind. I mean, it's definitely, I think, the monster that I am the most interested in as far as like a story and, the theme and, what Mary Shelley was trying to say by writing that character. So that'd be my choice.
Yeah. And, I'm a zombie fan myself, it's something that no matter what it is, like you jump in, it's like, all right, it's zombies. Cool. I'm there. Now what kind of zombies, right? Like what are the rules? What are the rules of this? And then how quickly into this do we find that the zombies aren't as scary as the people in that world because of them, that's I'm a sucker for that one.
Yep.
Okay, why? So this is a question that Lori asked. She seconds the board game question, but then also asks why Kickstarter instead of a more traditional method of selling. And so, I will just mention and plug, Lori, that I've been doing a weekly podcast called Comics Launch for the last 5+ years, where I try to answer this question among others. But in terms of launching a brand new product in 2021, especially for small press or independent creators, there really is no better channel to get something off the ground than Kickstarter. And so, it's just amazing what these campaigns can do in terms of reach and awareness. And it's like every time we launch a campaign, we will bring back awesome past backers. And right now during this launch, there's over 550 people that have pledged to a past campaign and are come back for more. And some of you have been backed almost every campaign, if not every campaign. So that's always great for us. Like that's like we're selling to our existing customer base, which is great. But every Kickstarter campaign also adds hundreds of new backers that have never heard of us and just discovered us for the first time because we are on this Kickstarter platform of millions and millions of potential eyeballs and customers and everything like that. And that doesn't happen anywhere else. And so we also do the more traditional methods of selling. We make our products available on our online shop at csforcthulhu.com, and we sell a ton of stuff on Amazon as well. But when it comes to launching a new book or a new product, Kickstarter is really the best way to do it, and the one where we really have the most fun with it. Anything else you want to say about that, Jay?
I think that there, before Kickstarter, things like this don't exist. We have built a brand that, creates high quality products. We sell directly to our customers, where we get to control everything. And when the old traditional ways just don't allow that, and good luck getting something made. I would say that I'm a pretty well-connected person in the publishing industry, and it would have been tough to get Cs for Cthulhu made through traditional routes. But here we are, 9 Kickstarters later, 3 books, all of this product, the brand is successful. And it just I don't think it would have happened if we had sought traditional methods. So if you're a creator and, you have an idea and you think it's something that people dig and you're really passionate about it, man, it's the way to go.
Yeah, you can't beat it. It definitely gives a lot of opportunity to anybody starting out to, take their idea and right up to finished product and go for it. Also, I can't plug Comics Launch enough, because that's where I met Tyler, and it made me successful on my first Kickstarter. So I wouldn't have been able to do it without him. So
yeah,
worth noting. Kickstarter
well
it's not none of this is easy. I mean, Tyler does a ton of work as far as getting all of this set up, and then the fulfillment of product, and arranging everything with factories. So it's not like this is an easy street by any means. No. This is just a way to get your product made, but there's still a ton of work to be done.
Definitely.
Yeah, and it's it's a start. It's a start, but I strongly and the other thing that I'll also say though is, like, we get requests and we get backers like telling us that they're excited for the next launch, and so the Kickstarter put us on the map in the first place, and some of our customers, like, this is where they've trained themselves to to do business with us and to support us. And so it just makes sense at this point, to keep coming back when we have something big and special to launch.
And it's easy, the platform makes it so easy to buy, support creators. It's just great. I love it.
Yeah. So a couple backers asked, what's your favorite of H.P. Lovecraft's work? Jay, do you have a favorite?
I have 2. I mean, it's hard not to pick the Call of Cthulhu, just because it's everybody's first. I think it's everybody's first read, and it's a lot of fun. And I think it really does like, if you were going to read one Lovecraft story, that would be it. But I also really like The Haunter of the Dark. That would be like my 1B choice.
Nice. And Josh, I know you've started digging into some of the stuff, right?
Yeah. Honestly, the only one I've listened to so far is Mountains of Madness, and I liked it. It was really good. Like I said, most of my other exposure to his characters have been through Peter Klein's books and Larry Correa. He does that Monster Hunters International, and there's a lot of the characters from Lovecraft in his stories. But I definitely am going to have to dive in and pick up more of his books, just to get even a better feel of all the characters that are out there in the past stories. So
Yeah.
And Christina also asks, have you seen The Color of Outer Space? And if so, what did you think of it? I think that's that Nick Cage movie that just came out.
So I haven't. My older son watched it, I think, over last summer, and was like, "Whoop diddy doo, it's crazy," But I haven't checked it out yet.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what to say about this. The past decade of Nicolas Cage's output, but
he's done some interesting films.
Yeah.
I got a fun little story about the Haunter of the Dark, if we have time.
Yeah, go for it.
Oh, sure.
So, like maybe 7 or 8 years ago, I was asked to be part of a live reading of the Haunter of the Dark. So they have, it's a stage, and there are podiums on each side, and the readers are all fed their lines ahead of time. So I had like 2 pages of the Haunter of the Dark, and I hadn't actually read the story until then. And if you read Lovecraft, you know that it's heavy, and there's a lot of like difficult language. And the Haunter of the Dark is no exception. It's got a lot of things that can be tough to pronounce, especially when you're standing up in front of an audience and you're not used to being a public reader. So I have my 3 pages, and I've read them a dozen times. I've got my cadence down, it's nailed. So they're calling people up, and the guy goes up ahead of me, and he starts reading, and I'm like, oh, that sounds really familiar. He's reading my pages. And I'm starting to panic. I'm like, oh my God. So I go over to the organizer, and I'm like, hey, you must have given me you gave us both the same part. So I need something to read. She hands me a little cell phone with like a 3-inch screen. And she's like, here are your pages. And, I'm up on stage having to pinch and scroll and to read. And it was a nightmare. It was such a nightmare. Like crazy, like Nyarlathotep and Trapezohedron and Yog-Sothoth and all of these, it was so dense. And I fought through it, but oh man, was it rough. So bad. The smallest cell phone in the world. Like this, and she's like, here you go. You can read.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well,
Oh, man.
good thing you've spent all that time practicing.
Yeah.
So Stephanie Klotz asked, do you have books in libraries? Yes, some. And then she also said, what do your children think of the books and creations that we do? Jay, your boys, how old are your boys now? They're teenagers, right?
Almost 20 and almost 15.
Yep. And so, that there was a Kickstarter a while back where the Charamella boys came over to help pack. We put them to work packing and getting stuff out for the Christmas deadline at one point. That was a good time.
It was.
But I mean, how do they? What do they think of the work that you do and the stuff that you create, Jay?
They look at it and they're like, oh, that's cool. But I don't know. They're desensitized. They see a lot of stuff, and they're around a lot of stuff. So it's a funny thing. I'm always like, man, I do cool stuff. What's wrong with you guys? I wish my dad was cool like this, and they could not care less.
Yeah.
You're still dad. You don't. It's not.
You don't get any extra points.
No.
No. What do your kids think about the work you do, Josh?
It's pretty much the same boat. My kids are all teenagers too. My oldest is 17, and then 16, and my son is 14. And they've been watching this Kickstarter the whole time, and they keep informing me how it's doing every day. And
that's awesome.
And they're like checking out the stuff and like, oh, that's cool. I like that. We're gonna watch Falcon and the Winter Soldier now. I'm like,
right.
And it's just dad stuff. So they're if somebody else was doing it, they'd be like, wow, that's amazing. But I'm doing it, so I'm just the guy in the room that comes out for a Pepsi every half hour and, sits back down and goes to work. So
yeah, if I was some YouTuber or Twitch person, it'd be cool.
Oh yeah. Yeah, they'll watch this and they're just gonna make fun of me afterwards. So
totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
My boy loves to read, and so he loves pulling the books out. He sleeps in his Cthulhu under his Cthulhu blanket every single night, which is cool. And but occasionally we'll get like a shipment of like the Cthulhus and like the babies. When they come like 200 to a box, right? Big massive box, and he'll open what's in the box? I'll open it up, and he's like, he thinks they're all for him.
Yeah,
like all 200 in packages, and then I'll tell him, no, we're gonna ship these out so other people can have them. He does not like that idea.
I love it. It's so great.
That is awesome.
That's that. And so this is sort of the last question that I pulled from the from what was posted, but it was a common one. So there's really a question about, more books. What are you planning? Anything you want to tease? How many more books do you think you'll do? What plans for future books? Jay, like what, how do we want to respond to this one and current thoughts and anything we want to tease?
Want me to tell them about the next book?
Well, sure. I mean, the next book actually is, I would say it was something that was asked for specifically by backers. So it shouldn't be too much of a surprise, but
yeah. So some of you may remember, I did a little version of "'Twas the Night Before Christmas" for our last Kickstarter, and people enjoyed it, and it was so much fun to work on. And so I recently turned over a script to Tyler for a 22-page book, adapting the poem from the last Kickstarter into a full book. And I gotta be honest. We were talking earlier about which of these things has been the most fun to work on. That was definitely the most fun I had working on a script for a Seas for Cthulhu book. I laughed. It was great.
Yeah. And so Josh has already sort of agreed to work on this new book. So
I'm looking forward to it.
We're hoping that we'll get him to clear up his plate or clear up his schedule a little bit and get right onto that. And so we don't anticipate there being a 3-year gap between books the next time around, and we're hoping that as long as these books keep that you guys keep liking them, I'm, as a publisher, I want to get as many of these out into the world, and I do also think we do see the demand for expanding the universe a little bit, and there's talk about a Hastur plush toy at some point. Well, maybe he'd need to star a starring role in his book to get his own book at some point to go along with that plush. And then also we've talked about wanting to do stuff that's aged up a little bit, and also tackling some other things that people have requested. And who knows, like it also seems like some of the holiday books would be like with this Christmas one kicking it off, but a Halloween book seems like a no-brainer at some point as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, we're happy to hear what you guys would like to see from us as well. And there were a couple questions about how did you evolve from the idea to where we are today? And I'll be honest, the big portion of that is getting feedback from all of you. I don't know that we would have ever done a plush toy had we not had a dozen people of our first backers of the first Kickstarter ask, "Hey, you guys going to do a plush? Hey, I would really like a plush."
Yeah, I certainly never imagined it.
Yeah, and it just so happens that at that same convention that Jay that Jay first pitched the book idea to me. A couple tables over, there's an awesome collectible creator and business called Skeleton Crew Studios, who had Plush connections, and we've been working with them ever since. And so I do need to give a big shout out for them, because the Plush toys are really a big part of what makes this brand special. And so speaking of Plush toys, I'm going to do one more Wheel of Names bonus giveaway here, because everyone loves to spin the wheel. And this one will be for our USA Plush. And so looks like Ashley Kukuk is going to get that one. So congrats, Ashley.
Early 4th of July present.
There you go. Yep.
Congratulations.
Congrats.
Or Flag Day, or anything. Thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in. Again, the campaign is over on Kickstarter. It is Counting Colors in Cthulhu, hardcover board book. You can get all sorts of plush toys and everything. It's going to run until May 1st. We'll have a new batch of stretch goals rolling out very, very soon. And we can't thank you enough for all of the support that you've shown this book up until now. And we'd love to keep making these for you. So thank you for helping us do that. Josh, any final sign-offs for you? And
no, just glad to be here and get to be a part of this. And now I'm really looking forward to seeing the script for the new book. So I can't wait to check it out.
Nice. And Jay?
Just want to say, super excited to have Josh on board for this book and the next book. I love the work, and just want to say thank you to everybody for all the support over the years. It means a lot. You bring a lot of joy and happiness to my life and my family's life, and just keep taking pictures, keep sharing them with us, because we really do love it.
Ditto. Well, thank you so much, backers, and everyone out there in Seas for Cthulhu Land. We appreciate you, and we will see you on Kickstarter and beyond. All right. Take care, everyone.
Good night.
Thanks, everybody. Night.